man. Fresh off of AGF and a broken toe.
Yeah.
How you healing up?
I'm healing up, man. Couldn't put pressure on a couple days. Thursday, yesterday, I started finally forcing myself, and you can see right now I'm able to do something. So I'm healing. I'm gonna probably train next week. Try to Monday.
So you think it's broke?
I don't know if it's completely broke, but there's probably a fracture or something in there.
Yeah.
The swelling's still there, but I can move it a little bit. So I mean, I'll tape it and make it happen.
Yeah. So that was what. So it's not your first one that you've done. So how many times have you jumped in there?
So that was my third one.
Third one?
Yep.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. So you got your blue belt last week.
Yeah, last week. Yep.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, congrats.
Appreciate it, man.
That's awesome. So, got to get past the blue belt statistic.
Yeah.
Not quitting. Right. That's the one. Honestly, that's one of the biggest things that. I'm I can't quit.
You're right.
At least you get a purple belt, right?
Right. Break that curse.
I don't get made fun of. So
no, me either.
Yeah, I've been doing it. So have you been training through it's been shut down?
Yeah, man. That's kind of why I was worried about this tournament, this fight. I'm like, man.
Dude, was that night? I thought it was the craziest thing. I went in there. So we went fight to win Friday.
Yeah.
And everybody's wearing a mask. The bar's closed. You can't buy a drink. And it was insane. And then I go to AGF and they're just
no masks?
Dude, there's no masks.
Yeah.
There's parents everywhere.
I'm like, what is this?
They're like, yeah, COVID's not real. So,
right?
Yeah, I thought that was crazy.
I thought it was weird too. I thought there were more restrictions, but I mean, I didn't really notice it. We went home. My wife's like, that's kind of weird. No masks. I'm like, there wasn't any?
Yeah.
And then I started looking. I'm like, oh, there's no one wearing masks.
Yeah. Dude, I'm very, very, I'm very liberal when it comes to all the restrictions and stuff. I've just been kind of living life. But even I walked in all these parents on top of each other, and I was I'm putting mine. That was one of the first places I voluntarily wore mine in a long time.
Was it? Yeah. Seeing all those people like that.
Yeah. So have you been training this whole time, or did you just get back into it?
So no, man. After it was probably March when the academy shut down.
It was into March.
March, yeah.
20th, I think.
Yeah. So my birthday was the 23rd, so it was right 20th, and I completely stopped for a month.
Yeah.
I was kind of lost for a second. You have that tradition you're doing it every day, right? It's a routine. And then you don't have that, and kind of had to find myself again,
Yeah.
All my family and friends aren't here, and I have all you guys. Kind of count you as my family too, from those 2 years. But there was nothing forcing me to work out. So I just kind of started doing kind of the wrong stuff. It's easy to fall off.
It is.
And you have a drink one day, have a beer, sit by the pool. Next thing you know, you're doing it, multiple times or
2 days. 3 days.
Yeah. Then it's the weekend.
4 beers, 5 beers.
Yeah, man. And then a month went by. I know you got a hold of me a couple times. Appreciate that. Yeah. And man, I just couldn't really get myself to do it. Kind of a little depression, I think.
Yeah.
At the academy,
was part of it losing the. The shutdown, was it work? Was it losing that
camaraderie?
Yeah, man. It is. It's a big part of our social lives. And
yeah, I think it was everything together.
Yeah.
We used to go into work, and then no more work. We're working from home.
Yeah.
So now I'm stuck at home. Now it's even my wife. And then you have the academy. Now the academy's not happening. So. Each day I'd see you guys, talk to you. We'd talk about our shit from the days. Man, just talk. And when you're missing that, your life kind of goes a different way.
Yeah.
So I just had to. Then I got a hold of Casey, got a hold of you guys. And I need to do something, man.
It's almost it seemed for a while it was just tons and tons of small losses back to back to back to back.
Yep.
Like you said, it was it's shut down for a week, now 2 weeks. They can't train. Now the competitions are gone.
Yeah.
Now they're is it even gonna reopen? And it's man, every time I open my email or social media, it's worse news.
I know, man. Yeah, that's exactly it.
I'll have to take you. I'll have to show you the fight club we built in the garage. We'll go out and look in a minute.
Yeah, I'll check that out, man.
We got tired of it. So we put that together and. There was only a few of us. We were just I sent a message out to a few people and was "Are you sure you're free? you're quarantined and you're healthy?
Yeah.
Or you can come over." So we had 3 or 4 of us, but it got us through, man. It was definitely a stretch. It was interesting, talking to you. I've talked to a lot of people from the gym.
Yep.
But man, to see how much of people's lives and kind of just. Whether it was mental health, whatever it was, a big part of their life was a part of that place.
Yeah, a huge part. Like more than you know until you don't have it, right?
That's a good way to put it.
You know, like when I first moved here, like I wasn't really worried. Like my whole thing.
So you're from Michigan, right?
Yeah. So from Michigan.
You're going back home when you leave here.
Yeah. So I'm from there, born and raised. Brought my wife down. We came here. It was supposed to be 6 months, turned into a year and a half. Now it's pretty much 2 years.
Yeah.
Which I don't regret it at all, man. Like meeting you guys is so cool. I hope to always talk to you guys. Come back here, meet back up.
Yeah, for sure.
Really cool church group. Like just met like good people. Like thank God I was on that path. I was able to connect. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when I came down here, I didn't really know what I was gonna do. I'm like my friends aren't here, my family's not here. It's me, my wife, and our dogs. What am I gonna do? And a month went by, and the same thing. We were by the pool, drinking, feeling like crap, waking up. Like in the weekends is like a party. Yeah. Not like we're 30 years old. It's not like a party, like a college party. But you have a couple of beers, man. You feel crappy in the morning, and then you redo it. So I was just again lost. Like I didn't really know where I was gonna go, man. And we're at work this one day, and this dude has a 360 Jiu Jitsu shirt. I'm like, man, I did boxing previously.
Who was it?
Casey told me his name. He's a bigger dude, black hair. His son trains there too. Okay. Works at GM. He's a union guy.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. He had the shirt on. I'm like,
everybody's got black hair.
Yeah, right. That's very common. And I was asking him, like, so what's up with that place? And he's like, yeah, it's awesome, man. Great atmosphere. You learn. I'm like, man, I never learned the bottom game, so let's go do it. Walked in. First off, when I did it, when you do a martial art, I never was a part of martial arts, right? So I was just intimidated. Yeah. I wouldn't say I did it to like, hey, I'm doing martial arts, but did it for something to talk about, right? To make friends, I guess. Mm-hmm. So I walk in, intimidating. I was terrible, man. Like I'm used to coming up here, right? Yeah. And I'm getting taken to the ground, and it was causing me anxiety because I was just on the ground. Yeah. I had no idea. Never wrestled, right? Yeah. Had no idea what to do, and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this, man. Went home.
Really? You were ready to quit?
I was done, man. I was done. I was sore. Hurt my rib. Remember I hurt my rib? Yeah. And I don't know, man. Like I think it was again like the camaraderie. There are a couple of you guys. I think it was you, Jamie, Roland. I think Jason. Yeah. Like they just kind of came out. You guys reached to me like, hey, man, I'll show you some little stuff. Yeah. And that went a long way, man. Like then at first I'm just going crazy, right? You're a white belt. You're spazzing out. Yeah, man. So even the littlest thing, like, hey, man, like I think you're like the one that told me. I was getting put on my back and I couldn't breathe, right? And you're like, just turn your hip a little bit, make a little space, and stop spazzing out as much. Yeah. And ever since that day, started doing that.
Take a breath.
And that might not seem like much, man, but when you're learning even that little bit that helps you breathe, it makes it more enjoyable, right? So there's just so much I could say like that, but
I think everybody's kind of got that story, man. For me, it was I did Taekwondo. I was stationed in Korea in the military, and I took Taekwondo out there, and I worked out at a MMA gym for a little while. You know, with the nothing serious, nothing formal. This was the first kind of formal, attempt I had at it, and the same thing. Everyone does it. You get in there and you're just wrestling with your cousin, and you're yeah. So for me, it was, and I think everybody has that story of that time when you're like, yeah, this is the time when it was Vu, Professor Vu, that I was rolling with him, and he was tossing me everywhere, and he's just laying there having a conversation with people on the side, and I'm like, he's like, dude, chill, just calm down, wait for your move, and that was when I was like, all right, I looking at him just laying there smiling, chilling, like he's not doing anything, and I'm dying.
Yep.
This is obviously I'm approaching this wrong, but yeah, it was something I always that helped me, so I always tried to. When there was new people, as I know how it is, you walk in and you're like, you don't know anything, and you're like, it's easy to be like, man, this ain't for me.
Yeah, it's so easy.
I'm obviously not cut out for this. Yep. No, just stay with it. Sometimes those little things hey, just breathe, be calm, and
the littlest thing.
Yeah, and it's always information through a fire hose. You go for a while, it's like, well, I learned 1,000 techniques, can't remember them, and I'm like, what do I do? It's like just
the retention, right? What you
slow down,
retain probably 5% of what you learn each day or something.
If that. There's I don't know how many times somebody would be like, hey, what'd you guys do last week? Go in here, and I'd be bro, I don't know.
All right, same here, man. You don't know.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember. Same thing, man.
Yeah. So you said something a second ago. You were talking about kind of being lost or whatever. During the shutdown when you lost it. Was that something that you experienced like before you got into jiu-jitsu? Was that a spot you're in, or what was finding jiu-jitsu? What did that mean for you?
Yeah, man. To be honest, I was lost for a while.
Yeah.
Like even before I came here, like GM's been really cool, but that's kind of my life as work.
Yeah.
Engineering, it's difficult, it's stressful, right?
Long hours.
So my habits were like on a weekend, like drink,
Yeah.
and that's just kind of what came back to, like have beers and just relax, right, and not think about work. And when your mindset's to have fun is drinking, you really don't do other things for fun, right? Like.
Yeah, everything gets kind of wrapped around it. The military was a lot like that. Like everything you did was like, let's get drunk and then
exactly.
do this.
Yep.
Let's drink and paintball. Let's drink and bowl. Let's drink and go kart. But it always involved. Yeah, you get stuck in that.
The starting point is drinking, right?
Yeah, that's your social life, your friends, your downtime, and it's hard to get out of that because you're not giving up. Even if you decide you want to stop drinking, you're not giving up alcohol. You're giving up your friends, your social life, your downtime, your hobbies.
Yep, your hobbies.
All of that. So So is that just kind of a switch for you? You found a replacement, or? Yeah,
like even before I left, I found out I was going to Texas, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna probably this group of friends are probably gonna do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come here, and I'm sure I'll find another group of friends that'll want to drink, right? So came here and didn't really meet anyone. I mean, we kind of. When you have all those friends and you're going out, like you said, go-kart, golfing, right? You're going to the bars. Then you come here, you don't know anyone, so you really can't do that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just hanging out by the pool or just relaxing or drinking beers, right? And it took me a while. And then, like I said, when I found jiu-jitsu, probably the first 2 weekends, I still did the same habits, right? I'd go home on the weekends, have some beers, and I'd feel terrible. Then Monday would come, and I'd try and fight, and I'd be terrible. I'd be sweating, right? All the alcohol.
Yeah.
And there came after I'd say third week, honestly. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I'm like, because I fell in love with it.
You had something to shoot for Monday.
Something to shoot for, right? People to talk to, people to compete with.
Yeah.
Probably third or fourth week, and I'm like, I want to excel. I want to be good. If I'm going to do this, I'm not just going to do it to get beat up, right?
Right.
So I'm like, let's not drink. So weekend came, I'm like. My wife isn't really a big drinker. She'll do what I do, right? So I'm like, I'm not going to drink. No drinks, no beer. Let's just hang out by the pool. And I did push-ups. Something small, right? Mm-hmm. Getting back into it, I was decently strong, but your endurance, man. When you drink, you're just gassing out. So I think that weekend I did some push-ups. And then following Monday, I go in, and my performance, I was nowhere near good, right? But you could see
it.
Yeah, the trend went up a little bit. I'm like, man, this is one weekend. Yeah. Like my body is used to drinking. This is 1 weekend without it. How am I going to be if I don't drink at all?
Right.
So that's what I started doing. Each weekend, wouldn't drink, and when I set to something, I'm pretty set, man. Like I have really bad OCD, so if I set myself to do something, I'm not going to stop.
Yeah.
And if I do, then I'm going to feel really terrible. So I've set that goal, like no drinking. Let's get better at jiu-jitsu. Just focus everything. Even after practice, man, if you guys would show me something, I'd go home. Or I'd videotape, or I'd go home and look at YouTube videos.
Yeah.
That just consumed me, man.
Yeah.
And it might have not been the healthiest thing, right?
It's healthier.
Healthier than drinking.
Yeah.
And Professor Gray, man, I can say so much thanks to him, but him going out of his way and being like, we can do personal training. And, obviously it wasn't free, right? Yeah. But for him to, go out of his way and want to do that, he'd, take me under his wing, and that's when I noticed I could actually be pretty good.
Yeah.
And started doing that, man, on top of training. I started out a day a week, and then, like I said, more consumed.
Yeah.
2 days, and 3 days. And then before I got hurt, man, I was training Monday through Thursday usually. Usually we didn't train Fridays, did we?
No.
That's when I do personal training, Fridays. Yeah. And then I hurt my rib. So this is probably, I don't know, the first time we did belt promotions.
Yeah.
That was probably 2 months in for me.
Yeah, it depends on when you started. It was about every quarter.
Every quarter.
4 months,
yeah.
4 months.
So it was probably September, October.
Yeah.
So I was only there for maybe even a month.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I didn't understand belt promotions, right? But I was so set on a goal to be good.
Yeah.
When they did belt promotions, I never talked about this to anyone. Like, it's in my head. But I didn't get a belt promotion. And to me, I'm like...
You didn't get your strike.
Which that doesn't matter now. For me, I could care less. But, like, for me, I had a goal to be really good. And everyone's getting promotions. And then I didn't. And I'm like, man, I suck.
Yeah.
I set my mind to this, and I suck. And, man, I was so let down. Yeah. And then, again, you have those thoughts, like, I need to quit. It's not for me. So I went to Alvarez Jiu Jitsu the next day. And, I never really told anyone this. I was just so disappointed. I'm like, man, maybe I just need to go to a different gym and see what I can do. And went there and got hurt.
Yeah?
That's when I hurt my rib.
Yeah.
Messed it up. And I'm like, man, like, I don't know what everyone believes in, but, like, God was telling me that wasn't the right thing to do. Yeah. Right? I got hurt, and then I was out. So I tried coming back the following week. And, like, that weekend, my wife had to carry me into the bathtub. Like, that's how bad it was. Wow. Not just any, like, I could stand up and stuff, but there was a certain point.
Do you know what you did, or you just...
Well, they did an MRI, and it looked like my rib was pushed into, like, some kind of, whatever's back there. Yeah. They called it something, like a nerve.
Where it
so
pops out, whatever, yeah.
So I could, like, stand up and be fine, but a certain angle, the two would touch, and it would cripple me.
Yeah.
So, like I said, she had to carry me in the bathtub, and all weekend couldn't do anything, and I'm like, man, I'm so dedicated trying to get better, like, and now I didn't get the promotion. So there was this one side's like, you're done, you're quitting, you're hurt. Other side's like, I need to prove everyone wrong.
Yeah.
Not that anyone's looking at me like, you should have got a promotion, right? Or you're not good enough. But that's still fighting in your head.
Yeah, it's a goal. Yeah.
And just being new to martial arts, you don't understand that, or at least I didn't understand that, right? Yeah. Like, promotions are, you got to earn that shit.
Yeah.
Like, you don't just get it. You were here for a month. No, it's not how it works. So I fought through it.
I feel like they did a good job there too. You know, I know some places are, promote faster, some slower. It's all subjective. But I always felt like it was well deserved when you got it there. Like when you got it, you knew it was like, all right.
Yeah, you could feel it, right?
I didn't buy this.
You didn't buy it.
Yeah.
You could feel, like, even like when someone would get it, you could feel. I don't know if that makes sense. Man, he desered that, right?
Yeah, everybody. When you see people, and you be like, it's about this.
Yeah, give him a hug and
walk to the front. Yeah.
Yep. And me and Gabe, he's always my training partner. He knows that. Like, he always came over to me and we just started training. And at first, he's pretty strong, man. Like, his grips, and I couldn't.
Both you guys were, man.
Yeah, I couldn't do anything against him. I couldn't get out of his guard. And so we just always started, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to train with him every time until I can start beating him. So then when he got the promotion, going back to that, he got one and I didn't. I'm like, oh. So then, like it affected me even more, right? And I never said this, but that gave me, like, more fire, right? Yeah. Like, in my like heart, in my brain, I'm like, all right, I need to beat this dude.
I'm going to get this dude.
This is my jiu-jitsu, like, partner every day. I'm going to get better than him.
Yeah.
And I fought through the injuries, right? Kept having that injury. So I was like, my king kind of went here, and I just stayed there with that injury. And then really started just, again, putting everything I had into it, doing the personal trainings, and just retaining what people would say.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say, well, you're a blue belt, so you should be a black belt. No. I'd be like, this dude knows way more than me. Anything he says, I'm thinking about it, and I'm going home and I'm writing it down.
Right.
So there's so many times, like, you and Sean and Coach Eddie, like the stuff they would say, I would just retain it. It's a little thing, man. Just think about it. And then I'd use it with Professor Gray when we'd do personal training. And then finally, like, after probably a month or two of just doing this, I finally went up. Yep, and I hit it. And everyone, I think you told me that. Sean told me, like, man, one day it's going to snap.
It just clicks.
Yeah, it's going to click, and you're going to start doing that.
Yeah.
And it did, man.
Yeah, man, I remember going through a phase like that too, where it was just like, all right, I guess I'm at the peak of whatever, and then all of a sudden it's just like, man, it seems like something kind of, it's almost like growth spurts with kids, you know, like you go and then you're like, and then you sit, and then you go.
Yep.
If you said something a second ago, like I've never been concerned with like the rank and all that stuff. Like, I mean, I started way late in life, and like I'm not getting the UFC. I don't. Like, whatever.
Right.
I almost took some pride, like, if I was a white belt and then I got somebody, that wasn't. Like, that was almost a sense of pride for me.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I'd rather be this and catch you the other way around. But, like, you know, so I got stripes. So, you know, I competed, did some different things. Like, I always just did it, you know, for myself, just to challenge myself and prove that I could, you know.
Yeah.
But, so I remember when I got my blue belt after it was a tournament that I won.
Dang.
And so when I came to class the next week, he gave it to me. But
in front of everyone?
Yeah. So I remember getting it, like, and tying it on, like, it wasn't it wasn't even a thought in my mind leading up to that. I was like, man, I got to get my blue belt, or I got to do anything. But I remember getting it was, like, satisfying. Like, man, like, get this done. Yeah, like, so I don't know. It's hard to explain that it wasn't something I was chasing after and important, and it wasn't my goal, but it was like getting it was like, I don't know, just satisfying is probably the word. Like,
felt right.
Yes, like yeah.
Yep.
I was glad to have it, and like felt like I had accomplished something and gotten here, and you know, I don't know. I think that's something pretty unique to. I don't know if it's unique to jiu-jitsu or unique to where we trained. You know, I talked to a lot of people. You know, I talked to a lot of people in the sports psych world.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been around a lot of people from different gyms in the area, and even some out-of-state ones. And they're not all the same. You know, you've been to other gyms. You know, there's different cultures and different mentalities.
Oh, yeah.
And that was really, you know, kind of a special place with the core group of, you know, it was a family atmosphere, but it was also competitive. You know, it's a lot of times I think you get the like, well, there's a family atmosphere and it's fun, but then like, well, the skill level suffers because everybody's just there, like, you know. But it didn't seem to be the case there. Like, everybody was good, everybody competed, everybody was, but you also still had that. It's the one place that I hung out with a lot of people from the gym outside of the gym.
Right.
It did become kind of my social life.
Yeah, you're like a secondary family, right?
Yeah, like half of them have been to my house now. Like,
that's crazy, right?
Yeah. You know, or birthday parties, or some of the kids have come over and rolled with the girls.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss it for sure. It's a shame, but
like the 360 in general, you're saying?
Yeah. You know,
right.
We'll see what happens. You know, hopefully, but
yeah, I mean, I feel the same way, man. I'm gonna miss it too. That's even driving by it today. I haven't drove by it.
It's different, man.
Yeah.
You see it, you're kind of like it's nostalgic, you know. You know, I see different, like, so I watched the videos, you know, I saw Greg got his blue belt. He posted yours online.
Yep.
You know, it's Professor Greg giving the, you know, he's talking on the camera, kind of giving the speech.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know, this is crazy to think, like, so were you there that last Saturday at Open Mat before?
Yeah, I was.
So that Saturday, when everybody went, because we're like, it might be closed for a week. You know, we thought next week it might be closed.
Yeah.
And so everybody went. That was only like 5 months ago.
That's crazy, huh?
Like, it seems like an eternity.
It does, man. It does.
It seems like forever.
Man, I remember that day like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, rolling, having fun. You're like, oh, we'll be back. This is going to pass.
Yeah, it might be like a week or two. We're like, dude, 2 weeks. Oh, this is
ridiculous.
What are we going to do?
And then we start talking about where we're going to roll at, who's how. Man.
Yeah, everybody was ordering mats. And so I've got the mats there, the one we built in the garage. After like, I don't know, a couple weeks, I was like, well, I'm going to put some in the garage so the kids can roll.
Yep.
So I got online like, hey, let me just order some cheap puzzle mats. Sold out. Dude, everywhere. America was sold out.
Because everyone wanted them.
Everybody was getting them because it was shut down. I even called, Dolomer, you know, the mat, it's in Fort Worth. It's like professional mats, like where you order them. Mm-hmm. And I was like, hey, do you got, you know, like remnants, or like, what does it cost to even order one? And they're like, we don't even, like, even ordering a commercial one, they weren't
serious?
Yeah, they were like, we're so back ordered right now.
No, I mean, that makes sense, right? But it's still to hear that, it's like, it's kind of the weight, same thing, right?
Yeah. We finally got some. You know, I ordered them. I think I'm sure they came out of China. It took a couple weeks, but
you got
a
some
bunch. And Sam and I put layers of, you know, carpet padding.
Mm-hmm.
We put like 2 or 3 layers of carpet padding down and taped it, and then put the mats on top. And turned out pretty good.
Pretty sturdy?
Yeah, good enough.
Yeah, man. Anything, right? Anything's better than not having it.
Well, and there were several underground places that were, you know, you went to a couple of them.
Yeah.
Going to that were in secret fight clubs and basements. And things, but,
fight club, man.
I tell my daughters and you know, some of the other kids that were out there. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but I was like, you know, I said someday someday when you grow up and people are like, hey, what were you doing during the shutdown, Grandma? You're going to be like, oh, I was training Jiu Jitsu with the world champion in the basement of a church fight club.
Yeah.
Be like, like, what? That's crazy. Be like, yeah. So that's that'll be interesting.
I'll always remember that too, man. That was fun.
Yeah, it was.
You know?
But man, like you said a minute ago, like that kind of stuff. You know, so working in psychology, and you know, I do the sport thing and I love it. But I have an office too. I have just a private practice where I talk to, you know, all kinds of different people.
Okay.
The anxiety level that people, I mean, it's stayed booked. Like, I mean, people have just been off the rails with anxiety and depression and all of the mental health issues that have gone along with this. And I've noticed something that the more people are involved in like this social media and cooped up in their house watching the news and all this toxic stuff, man, the worse it seems to be.
I bet, yeah.
You know, and I think a big part of it for me that I feel like I've weathered the COVID thing pretty well mental health wise. Like, I've done okay, but it was because, like, man, a couple weeks in, like, I realized I was getting in, like you said, man, I'd sit on the couch, you know, and like, I'm gonna I'll have some bourbon. And then it was like 2, and then it was like watching Netflix, and then 2 in the morning, and like catching, you're just like, dude, for 2 weeks, like, I've been watching Netflix and drinking on the couch and not doing anything. Like, I'd wake up, feel like crap.
Yeah, man. Yes.
It was just, man, I just realized it early on. I was like, man, this is not a habit I'm getting into. You know?
So you had to make a change right away.
Man, yeah. So I started trying to, you know, just get back into doing some things and be social. That's why, I got into some rolling underground and stuff like that. And try to get back into triathlon training. That's my other kind of hobby passion. I go in cycles.
Been doing that lately?
Man, I tried. So I was running and riding. I got an indoor bike, so I ran the indoor bike and was like, man, this is perfect. Like, I got all this time. Like, So last year I did the Cedar Hill Triathlon.
Okay.
And so for my age bracket, so I didn't really train for it. Me and my friend were supposed to do it, and we're like, we're going to train hard, and we're going to try to, like, compete in this one, right? Because we always thought we were fast enough. We just never put in the effort.
Right.
So we're like, we're competing for this. Well, then he backed out on me, and I was signed up, so I was like, So I would do my training was pretty suspect. I did a few things, but mostly I just rolled. Like, I would go roll, and for my cardio, I would just roll kind of hard. Like, I was. Well, so I went to the triathlon. Well, I ended up 4th in my age bracket.
Are you serious?
So I missed the actual podium in my age group by 1:22.
Wow.
And that was after, like, because I was like, man, I didn't really train, so I wasn't really put forth the effort. You know, I kind of lollygagged a little bit, you know, getting on my bike. Like, I'm like, dude, I had 1:22 in me. So after that, I was like, all year long, like, all I could think of was like, dude, the Cedar Hill Triathlon, like, this is dude, I was so, like, motivated to do that. So I was training for it, getting ready. And I mean, it was supposed to be in like, I think it's supposed to be in like June.
Okay.
So it was like right after. So COVID kicked off. I was like, this is perfect. This gives me time to train.
Oh, you can just train.
Then it'll be over, and then we'll be back. So I got ready to go, and then they sent out an email where obviously it was canceled. So
they canceled it.
Who knows when the next one will be? But so I kind of, after they canceled it, then it was just like, it's like you said, man. Like, I'm a person that I need goals, man. That's why I sign up for tournaments and events. And, you know, my wife sometimes like, why can't you just work out for free? Like, why you spend all this money on all this crap? But I'm like, no. You know, we did Ironman a couple years ago. You know, and that cost a small fortune to do that thing.
Yeah.
You know, she's like, God, can you not do this for free? I'm like, no, because I was like, there's something about the fear of public humiliation that keeps you, when you don't want to train, you're like, I don't feel like it today. Like,
forces you to.
But also don't want to get choked out in front of my kids.
Exactly, man. Yep. And, you know, there's something, I think you did one of these things with, like, Jason or someone.
Jason and Amy came over.
Yeah, and you were talking about, and I still think about this before my last 3 fights, that came to my mind. You were like, you know, there's people out, like, obviously your like, what's going to worry you is people out there watching you, especially if you lose, right? What they're going to say.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, even though we shouldn't think like that, that's going to cross your brain.
Sure.
And something you said with your daughter is, you're like, you know, all those people out there, someone might say something bad about you, but that same person would never in a million years even think about stepping in here. And man, that like almost gives me like a sense of relief. Like, some people are going to say something bad if I lose. Maybe I'll lose in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But it takes a different kind of person to be able to give their all, right?
Yeah.
In front of people that are paying to watch you.
Yeah.
Win or lose, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I try, because I mean, there's always a scare, there's always that thought, like, man, if I get beat, like, my friends who I trained with, like, you guys were all here. Like, I don't want to let Professor Gray down. Let him, like, I just all the thoughts in your head, right? And, man, like, that always replays. Like, I replay it through my head. Like you said, your daughter was crying, and you pointed to the crowd. Like, it's like motivational, right?
Yeah.
You can hear that. Because people don't think like that. Like, oh, man, you can talk all the crap you want watching
Up there
TV.
in the stands.
Yeah, man,
It's
in the
easy.
stands. Yeah, it's easy.
In the when we watched you this last week, we were sitting there, and man, me and Sean were watching, and so it was on the matinee where you guys are waiting the mat next to us, and they were rolling. There was this lady yelling here, and me and Sean we were kind of sitting there, and like, you know, I just looked at him real loud so the lady could hear me, and was like, man, it's so much easier out here, isn't it? Like, you know, she was yelling, oh, look, you know, something, or do the arm bar, or whatever she was coaching, you know, outside, and just like, you know who else wants to do that? Like that person.
Yeah, right.
I promise you she wants to get out from underneath that.
Man.
Oh, she's trying her best. Yeah, I remember that. That was that one with my daughter was at what's the name of that one? Girls and Geese. So it was the all girls one.
Oh, it was?
It was one where they had bleachers, so it was kind of like you're down on the floor and everybody's
watching that. Yeah,
up and down, and she was, you know, so she's little and she's looking up, you know, all the people, and she was embarrassed, like, you know, because she cried.
Mm-hmm.
She was, you know, everybody saw her cry, and so she was embarrassed that they'd make fun of her. It was like it's the people in the stands, like their opinions don't matter. I think I sent you in a text or something. There's an old saying, I think it's a proverb or something, that says something about lions don't concern themselves with the opinions of lambs.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, it's, you know, I've always liked that. Like, it's, you know, not downplaying anybody up there. They're people just like us. But their opinion of me down there is like, if you haven't done it, then
it's irrelevant.
You
right?
don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like being a parent. Like, people are like, hey, what's land? Well, you just do it. Like,
Just do it. Right.
You know, I can sit there and explain it, but you don't know until you train for a long time. You put in a lot of effort, a lot of time. You spend a lot to get to the point to even be able to do it. Mm-hmm. And then you put yourself out there in front of all your friends, all your family, a bunch of people you don't know, half of which are rooting against you and want to see you fail. Some people go to fights just to watch people get beat up.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know, so everybody's rooting against you. There's all the haters. And then there's another human being who is trained just as hard as you, walking across the mat, and his goal in his brain, he's been getting amped up to hurt you.
Like, yeah,
it's his goal. Like, I'm going to try to hurt this guy until he gives up.
Until he goes up.
Yeah, if I can hurt him bad enough, he'll quit.
Yep, and then he'll
in front of his kids.
Yeah, man, that's their goal.
So it's like, but yeah, man, and they do it so, like, hey, come to the pit and sit there, and you sit there next to those
worst
guys,
part,
and they're all getting, you know, I was watching, like, oh god, I hope that's not the guy.
That's,
you know,
kind of a funny story. Like before, my last AGF fight, I was just dude at work, and he watches UFC and never done martial arts, never done boxing. He's like, man, I'm gonna go to your fight. I'm like, yeah, I'll let you know when it is. Like, I don't really want anyone at work being there. And he's like, I just want to go to watch you get your ass whooped. Like, in my head, I'm like, I wanted just to snap on him. Like, what? Like, I think I talked to you guys about it the next day. I'm like, man, like, someone says that, like, you don't ever want to hear that, right?
Yeah.
And it was a joke, but when you're putting everything you have into something, and you could get beat, right? And you might get your ass whooped. Like, that hits so much harder. So before this fight, I don't know if you guys had to be there already. The big Indian dude I fought, he was like hitting his chest and like doing whatever. He's and like, I'm like, I better not fight this guy. Man. And then everyone starts going to their lines, and he's in the same line as me. I'm like, all right. And I could already feel it, man. I knew I was going to fight him. And everyone's talking about, what's your experience? Everyone's, about the same, about around a year. This guy's like, well, I'm around 2.5 years, 3 years. And then there's a dude named Brett. And the smaller dude, shaved head in front of me.
Yeah.
He turns around and he's like, why is he fighting with us? And I'm like, man, I don't know, but hopefully I don't fight him.
Yeah,
right?
That is strange. I know his coach, and I know some people from his gym. I don't know him, but I know several people that he.
And they have really good coaches, right? I didn't know that. Thank God.
What's that?
You said they were like world champion coaches.
Yeah.
I didn't know any
That's
of that.
why I didn't say nothing.
Yeah, thank God.
I knew who that guy was.
You did?
I met him.
Yeah. So I'm already like, I don't usually get too intimidated. Like obviously before a tournament you're gonna get intimidated, but that was that extra level. And then we all go to the staging area, and then it's 10 times worse, right?
Yeah.
And then he goes, Brett and Richie, go over there. So then I know it's me and him.
Yeah.
That's when I started. I don't know if you saw me, but I lipped to you. I'm like 3 years, and I don't know.
I saw you. I didn't know what you said.
Yeah.
I was just like, all right. Yeah, go get him.
And then I had my Gatorade, and I ran over and I gave it to my wife. And I'm like, man, this dude's been training for 3 years, and you or Sean, you guys like, who cares? Go do it.
So,
and I'm like,
so beat this dude.
Yeah. I'm like, all right. And my wife, she was putting it on Zoom for my friends and family in Michigan. And I was about to be like, stop it. Turn it off. Don't do it. But, like, again, the thing about your daughter and people out here, they would never do this. And, let's just do this thing.
It's about you.
About you.
Yeah.
And then the bell went off, and then all the thoughts are done. Now you're just ready to fight.
Yeah.
But leading up to that, man, and I just gave everything I had, man. Like, haven't really been training. Like, been training personnel with Casey.
Yeah.
But 2 weeks before that, I joined Silva to start doing like actually training and sparring, and just started getting right back into it. Right.
Yeah.
But it was my cardio wasn't there. wasn't there where it should have been. So after the first fight, giving everything I had, man, I was done.
Yeah.
Like my legs, and then as you know, I'm walking out, and whatever I did to my toe, like I don't think it happened in the fight. I honestly don't think so. I think I stubbed something, or I don't know what happened, man. But I was really proud to beat that dude, and I didn't even know about until you texted me like, yeah, his coaches are world champions, and man, that makes me proud because there was a part in me. I'm like, man, I just got my blue belt, and like, Corey and all them are watching me.
And their gym's they've been back to training for a little while. So cardio wise, skill wise, like they've been. So what you pulled off, man, was like you should be super proud of that, man. That was.
And after you told me that, I was. But, I texted Professor Gray, I'm like, hey, man, I called him after the fight, and I'm like, I just want to say thank you for, like, what you've done for me, and the training, and I was able to win the first fight, and I got armbarred the second fight, and, I think his response, he was like, I don't care about, I don't care if you bring home a gold. He's like, what I care about is that you have, the balls to go out there and give your all, knowing you might lose.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, that's pretty cool.
That's the thing, man, is putting yourself out there. That's a lesson that's everybody needs to learn. I think I've told the story on here before, so I won't make it long. But so the first time I did the Ironman, like my friend was, when we signed up for it, we're like, hey, we should do a triathlon. Okay, let's do the Ironman. Like, whoa, wait a minute, put 0 to 100 here real quick. Right. He's like, no, go big or go home. And then I'm like, hell yeah, that's right, let's do it. Yeah. Signed up. We paid. I think that thing costs. I think it's like $800 just to sign up. Yeah,
what?
It's expensive. Like it's a big event. Like
it's $800.
It's all day long. It's when you see the production that. So you can do the Ironman style races from different brands, and they're a lot cheaper. When you do the actual Ironman, which we wanted to do, like we're gonna get at least one actual says Ironman on it. They announce your name, but you see the production. It's like 3 days. It's a lot goes into it. They got a lot of overhead, and you're paying for the name. Anyway, we did it. So what I did was like, man, let's use this as a opportunity. So the guy that owns the counseling center I'm at, he was starting a. Remember DARE? Did y'all have that? DARE against drugs in school. Yep. Well, so now, it's a big deal here, but we don't have any kind of program, right? So,
no program here, huh?
Yeah, no, crazy, right? Because we don't have a problem here in our city. We got a great school system.
But you're saying city, it's not state city.
Well, so our school district here doesn't have that kind of program because we don't have a problem. But I work at a counseling center, so
the problem.
We got an issue.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was trying to start a thing like, let me start a nonprofit organization that teaches parents what to look for, and he had all these plans and stuff to help kids. So, but he was trying to launch it off the ground. So I was like, here's what I'll do is so I started a blog. It was like, hey, follow us, and hey, donate money. We're raising money for this cause. Just kind of turned it into a, I think we raised like $1,000 or something.
Pretty awesome.
To get it started, but nothing huge, but. So anyway, it had a bunch of people following us along during training for 4 or 5 months. And
really?
all my family and all my friends and, all the people that I used to be in the military with. And my friend that was doing it with me, like all his friends and family. So everybody. And then we're like, hey, we're going. And, we took off and we headed there. Well, they got this tracker. You got the little thing on where you can be like, hey, download this app and here's my number and you guys can track us through the thing and send
virtually.
Yeah, and they can send messages and then afterwards you can go back and read the messages people see. Like
that's
so
awesome.
Basically, let's put it this way: is I made sure the entire world had the opportunity to watch this.
Yeah.
Well, the first time I did the Ironman, we went to Idaho, so it would be cooler, right? We're like, we'll deal with the elevation, but it'll be nice and cool. Better than doing it in Texas, right?
At the heat.
So the day we ran, it was 107 degrees.
In Idaho?
Yeah. They said it was somebody told us it was like the second hottest one on record in North America.
Wow.
So in North America, it's the second hottest one ever. I mean, in the mountains, climbing hill. I mean, just steep grades. I mean, it was brutal.
Oh.
I got to the 96-mile mark, which is the turnaround to come back down, and there was a medical guy took my pulse, and he was like, "You're done."
Are you serious?
Yeah, pulled me off the course, and so they're taking me down. I thought it was. I mean, I was struggling, but I was like, "There's no way you're taking me down this mountain."
Yeah.
You dragged me, and they were just like, "They're like, you're not. It's not happening." So what had happened, because it was so hot and everybody up there, they're not used to it. People were falling out, and the hospital called and said, "We're full. Like, we will not take anybody to the hospital unless they're unconscious.
Oh my god!
If they're conscious, you deal with them because we don't have room."
Yeah.
Everybody. There was something like 400 people that
all from the
fell
race.
out. Yeah, because there's like 2,000 that do it, and something like 400 people fell out. That it was crazy. It was a ton. So anyway, they were like, we can't take the chance because if you fall out, we can't get you help, and basically they just said you're done. And so they pulled me off the course, and that was it, man. So I'm stuck in Idaho, got all my stuff there, still got to pick up. They're driving me down the hill, and I'm like, so I can go back and pick up my phone and see all the messages. Everybody like, hey, we're so proud of you. Like, dude, you talk about a miserable feeling, man. So
just the drive back, even right? Anticipation
but just I made the decision pretty. Like, dude, if you'd have caught me that day and been like, I'll give you $100 for all of your gear, I'd have been like, here, I'm done. Like,
but you still went 100 miles though.
Made it 96.
Man, if I did 10 miles, I'd be happy with myself. So
well, I came home and to the detriment of even she was like, don't do this again. Like, she didn't want me to do it. Because it's a lot of time.
Oh yeah,
a lot of money. Like, the bicycles cost $1 million. The wets, there's tons of stuff goes into it. But I was just like, man, I can't leave it like that.
Right,
dude, it ate at me. Like, I couldn't leave it like that. And so I ended up I signed up for the one in Texas.
You did?
Yeah. So I was just like, man, screw it. Like,
I'm doing it.
Dude, I have to finish this. And I haven't done anything that long or that grueling since. But I was like, man, if this takes me 10 tries,
you're gonna do it.
I'm finishing this race. I couldn't leave it at that.
Right.
I just had that vision of that dude because they put my bike in the back of a car and they drove me down the mountain. And you're driving back, and all the other people, and they put you in a bus to take you to Ironman Village, and all the other losers that got kicked off around there too.
Yeah,
they're all like, "Oh," and everybody's sad. And you're like, "You guys suck." You're like, "But you're on the bus too."
Right.
It's just like, dude, I could not leave it that way. I had some really good friend of mine, Greg. That he sent me some messages on just on Facebook. People that have been. It's kind of like what you were saying, man. Like, you don't know unless you've been through it, unless you put yourself out there, really gotten beaten, failed, or at least know what it's like to have that fear of public humiliation, And he was somebody who had been through a lot of things in college sports and stuff similar, and he sent me this big long message, and that really so shout out to Greg. He helped me out a lot. That's when I was like, dude, so I did, man. I did it and ended up going back and crossed. It was the craziest thing. I crossed that finish line. They call out your name.
But you finished it?
You're
back Let's go, man.
For sure, dude. There was no way I was not doing it the second time.
200 miles?
100 and, what is it, 140.6.
Oh, my
so
gosh.
It's a 2.5 mile swim, 2.4, and then you do 112 mile bike ride, and then you run a marathon.
Man, so what a cool success story to fail, go back, learn.
Yeah, it's this one right here.
And finish it. Man, I couldn't even imagine. That's like the Diaz. They do that stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah, those dudes though, they're like, hey, let's go do one this weekend, and then they go do it.
But still, crazy. Their whole life's around cardio and stuff.
Yeah.
You to be a counselor, right? To do jiu-jitsu, and to live a normal life and go do that. That's like unheard of, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. You know, we did a lot of, a lot went into it, you know, for sure. But I crossed that finish line the second time. I mean, you're like the relief of just like, oh my god,
I did it.
In fact, like, so it thunderstormed.
Mm-hmm.
The second time, so about 16 miles into the run, there's like 8 miles left to go. I mean, lightning, and they stop everyone. They're like, you got to stop, and you can't go forward. And I was like, you're gonna have to have the National Guard to keep me from I don't care.
Like, not again.
I'll walk in a tornado, and I'll be the only guy on the news. Like, this dude's still out here, and I'll be like, I don't care if y'all go home. And I'm just sitting there like, dude, just terrified. Like, if they stop this, oh my god. So, yeah. Well, we sat there for like half an hour, and finally they were like, "Okay, you can go." Well, now you're soaked. It's cold. It's raining.
Heart rate's
You've
back
already
down.
been into this. Like, man, taking off again was just like, man, you just feel your body seize up.
Yep.
I was just like, man. So I was like, man, I got 8 miles to finish, and I was just scared. Like, what if you pull something? What if you?
Yeah.
And I mean, that was the slowest 8 miles any human being has ever gone. I was just like, nice and easy and slow and gliding. And they're like, hey, I'm like, no, today's goal is to finish.
Yeah. After that,
we ain't trying to win it. But,
man, that's awesome though, man. Congrats.
Yeah, man, crossing it was just a relief, and I was just like, but it was weird. Like, they put the medal in there, they announce you on the thing, and everybody claps, and you're like, and I was just like, I just walked out, and it was almost just like, all right, what's next? Like,
right, you're ready.
Like Ironman, triathlon, everything is like, I'm done. I accomplished this goal, and it was just like,
yeah, that's like resume stuff, man.
Yeah.
But that's.
I wish, you feel like you'd be like living this moment for a long time, but it wasn't. It was just more like, all right, let's get something to eat and get home, and like
keep going.
Like it was like a checklist. Like, this is something I had to do.
Yeah.
Okay, we checked it off the list.
Which that makes sense, man. I mean, like, I feel like big things in your life. I mean, even like. Obviously, skydiving has nothing to ring a triathlon, but like after my goal, I have a to-do list or a goal list, right?
Oh, you never done it?
No, triathlon?
No, the skydiving.
Yeah, I probably 5 years ago I went to California.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I'm gonna do this, like you said. It's in your head, like, man, what if I don't? I told everyone I'm going to.
Yeah.
And you're up there, and man, I almost stopped for a second, man. I'm like, I can't do this. Then my stepbrother jumps out, and I'm like, all right, I have to do it now.
Yeah, I have to.
Jump, man, and like you said, you go down. I didn't feel like I succeeded in anything like you did, obviously, but even doing it, I'm like, what am I doing next?
Man, even doing that, like, if you put in the time in the 4 months and ride your bike and run, like, you can do it. Like, most people can physically. Like, it's not like, enough people have done it that, like, the general population can physically do it.
Right.
It's not about that.
What's the dropout rate, though? You said
a lot.
Like 67%?
Well, so, I mean, the one in Idaho was super bad, but it was because of the conditions, for
elevation.
The most part. I don't know what the statistics are. I mean, there's quite a few people that don't make it.
I'm sure a lot, yeah.
That fall out. But, there's a lot that do, and a lot of people that do these things. And, I mean, they'll be like 80-year-old people you'll see out there, like, passing,
You're like, what?
Like, what's going on? Or, like, there was a veteran. He was a Navy prior. I think he was a Navy SEAL, some special. He was blind.
He was blind?
Yeah, he did the whole thing blind.
What?
He had a guy with him that his brother-in-law, like, helped him through it.
Wow.
I wish I could think of the name of his. He's got a non-profit. I wish I could think of the name of it to plug it on here. I'll put it in the description.
Yeah, man, I want to see that for sure.
It was pretty neat. He was blind and did the whole thing, like, tethered to another person. It was like,
wow.
To me, that was crazy,
Those guys don't quit, man.
Yeah, you ever heard of a guy? His name's the Iron Cowboy.
He actually hangs out a lot of the SEALs. He was just on that final race or whatever.
Yeah, he does. He did 50 Ironmans in 50 days in 50 states.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he did that, and his documentary that he's got. This is something that I use all the time, and it's something that I give to everybody that I do sports psych stuff with. Mm-hmm. He talks. There was one of the races when he had a kid that had I think he had MS, but he couldn't run, kid. Mm-hmm. But he wanted to go through this, so he like towed him in a canoe, swam the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Then they had a trailer that he hooked to his bike, and he was pulling him in the bike. Well, his gears broke, So he couldn't switch gears on his bike, and he was just like done for. And like he talks about how grueling it was. You can't switch, like that would be awful.
Terrible, yeah.
And he talks about how he was just like, I can't finish.
Right.
There's no way this is going to happen.
It's not possible, yeah.
How much it hurt, and like he just kept going. And he talks about a point looking back and like seeing this kid and talking about just like feeling bad about, like feeling sorry for himself. Like here I am, like bitching about not being able to, because my legs hurt and it's hard and my lungs burn. Like all this kid wants to do today is ride a bike. Like that's the reason he's here, and he can't. He said it hit him, and he said, I made the decision and quit telling myself I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do that. And he just said, he repeated in his head over and over, is like, I get to ride my bike today.
Yep.
Like
that's
today,
so true, man.
I'm blessed. Like even though the gears are broken, it hurts. Like, but I'm blessed enough. I'm blessed to have hurt legs right now. Look at this kid.
Yeah.
I was like, man, when you change it from I have to or to I get to, like, man, it changes your perspective.
No, it's so true.
Yeah.
So true. A lot of times I think about that too, man. Like, our lives are so crazy that it doesn't matter what your profession, but you're working and you're doing a sport, and after high school, a lot of sports fall off, right? I had football and I had basketball and boxing and all that stuff goes away.
Yeah.
So you gotta kind of find something, right?
Yeah.
Kind of find, and a lot of times you get down on yourself, like, man, I'm not doing my job right. I should do more. Or, I'm not doing the best I can in Jiu Jitsu or whatever you do, man. And I make myself, like, I even have in my notebook, like, be humble, think really hard about what you have.
Yeah.
If you just do that, man, like I'm alive. I'm in a country where I can do what I want. I have a job, I make money. I might not be the richest dude, but I can take my wife to dinner if I want.
Yeah.
I can buy my nephew a Christmas present. Like, the things that we get to do, we take for granted. Everyone does, right?
For sure.
And if you don't take it for granted and just sit back, like, man, thank you God for everything I have.
First world problem.
Yeah, man. Like it makes you feel good,
It's hard to feel sorry for yourself and be grateful at the same time.
Yes.
So if you start off by saying, every time you get in that funk of being like, man, think of 3 things you're what's his name, Nitro, American Gladiators.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So I've got his book. I've ordered it. And that's one of the things in there he talks about is being grateful and getting up in the morning. And if you just list off 3 things you're grateful for, it's real hard to have a crappy day and feel bad for yourself.
So that's true, man.
If you're, it's hard to, put yourself in that spot if you're thankful. That's something. Another thing I've kind of pick up I read books and pick up like one thing out of them.
A little retention.
Like 300 pages. Like, I got this one thing. Be grateful. All right, thanks, Dan Clark.
Always remember it.
Super cool guy, by the way.
Dan Clark, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nitro. I used to watch that show as a kid all the
time.
Man. All the time. But he is. I like him. So, man, well, I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you having me. This is really cool, man.
I appreciate you kind of telling your story and being open and kind of talking about some of the stuff. I think it's super helpful for. There's a lot. Everybody goes through things, and everybody. I have found jiu-jitsu to be kind of a. If you go see a counselor and you're like, hey, I'm depressed or I'm anxious, and you go see somebody, like they always say, you got to get out, get more exercise, get some sunshine, eat better. All the things you already know. And that when you're depressed, you don't want to do. Right?
Yep.
So I've really found though that jiu-jitsu is more better. I don't know what the word is than all the other things. Like you can join a softball team and get some exercise, get outside and handle all those things. But it's not the same as I don't know if it's martial arts, if it's jiu-jitsu specific. I don't really have a theory on what it is yet, but there's something about doing this that, man, really has an effect on people's mental health, and it seems like it so much more so than other physical activities.
100% agree.
Yeah, it's the people, the physical activity. I think it has a lot to do with this is something that it's day in and day out, nothing but just small goal, goal, and the goal isn't to get a black belt. Like, maybe it is down the road, but you don't. Who thinks about that?
Right.
You're not training for that.
No.
Like, it's so far away. But right now, like you were training to, man, I want to do this competition and not get embarrassed, or man, I just want to be Gabe. Like,
yeah.
He got a stripe and I didn't.
Yep.
You know, and in order to do that, it's like, man, I keep getting armbarred. I gotta figure. Then you just get this one move and it works. And like, that's it. Small goal.
Yep.
And you feel a little bit better about yourself. And then you learn this and you learn that and you learn that and then you tap this dude out and then you're like, and it's just, I don't know. It builds a lot of self-esteem and a lot of just self-worth and feeling good about yourself.
Self-worth. Yep.
Do little goals all the time.
Yeah, and confidence too. I'll say that word.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, this talk. I'm training these guys at work, so I'm leaving, and they're gonna start taking over some of the responsibilities I was for. And came up. I don't know, Jiu Jitsu. I don't know. I had a shirt and they showed up my fight, and they're like, "Man, isn't your anxiety terrible?" I'm like, "No." When someone's on top of me or like have me in a position, I'm more at ease and concentrated than any time during the day. Mm-hmm. Like we train to do that, right?
You don't freak out.
No.
You're like, all right, you start finding me.
What do I need to do?
Yeah,
and your brain is working in so many different ways that, again, you would understand unless you are in that world, right? But like my anxiety has gotten so much better. I have the days, right? We all do. Mm-hmm. But from jiu-jitsu, like I owe so much to jiu-jitsu, man. Like more than I could ever talk about. But I hope anyone that sees this, like, if you ever need hope or anything, try out jiu-jitsu. Like, it can give you things that, I can't even explain. So,
yeah, I started doing this. The goal was like, we'll do something like, because I'm a licensed therapist. I work with a lot of sports guys. I do marriage counseling. I do a lot of different things. But I was like, hey, we'll start doing this, and like this will just kind of be like therapy. Like it's not, everyone's different. Everyone's an individual.
Yep.
Not everybody responds well or even needs to go sit on a couch and talk about their mom. And it doesn't work. Some people find different things, right? Mm-hmm. And I just started noticing that about a lot of things. And I was like, well, we're going to start doing that. And I'll just, like, people I know that have been through rough patches of life or whatever and come out, I'll have them in and just be like, well, hey, what'd you do? What'd you find?
Right.
They can talk about it. Maybe it helps people. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's whatever. But it was interesting. It's like most of the people that I know in my life that I was like, man, I'd like to have this person. Okay, here's somebody. Who else can I think of? Like, they all started being people that I've trained with or that roll. Like I just started noticing a pattern. I'm like, man, like that seems to be a pretty common. I don't know if a common thread, but it seems to be. It's definitely an effective tool.
Right, it's a mean.
Yeah. So people who have that tool in their toolbox seem to be, doing okay, and so it just kind of turned out that way.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of things, a lot of different things that I think it provides. Maybe it's just the fact that this is one thing that provides a lot of those, accomplishing some goals, the camaraderie. You've got friends that are there they support you.
They support you,
places, like they support you, but it's also very individual. So it's me versus me, and let me be the best I can be. But I also have all these people that are helping me and rooting for me.
And rooting for you, yeah.
Dude, you go rolling. It's like, of course, I'm trying to tap you out and beat you. But it's like, man, if you do something cool and, blow out, I was like, man, that was great.
What did you do?
I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
Cool, yes. So all those things together, man, I really do think this is kind of a special tool to put in your toolbox for sure. So.
Me too, man. And I'm going to continue doing it, right? Like, even though I'm leaving Texas, jiu-jitsu is going to stay with me. Really thankful for all you guys in 360. Like, again, I can't even really talk about like how much I'm grateful for that, and like, just thank you. A lot of the stuff you guys don't even know, like some of the stories I just told today, never told anyone that, Yeah. But, it's really helped me find my way in life, and I'm a lot more happy, confident, like way more confident, and just I feel like I'm an overall better person, and I'll never forget that. Like some of the guys, like I've had friends my whole life, like for my birthday and stuff, the jiu-jitsu family was the first people to text me, or when the COVID stuff happened. A lot of my friends, we always check in, we talk about once a week, but I didn't have anyone like you guys. Hey, are you okay? Do you need to talk? Do you need to come roll? Do you like that? And again, that's something you build from that, right? We're together every day, and we won't be trying to kill each other and choke each other out. But after, man, like that's a bond that you can't make and you can't pay for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe we're all just messed up and we understand what it's like to.
Yeah.
You get it, you're
you
like,
get it.
when you don't have it, you're like, oh man, everybody Everybody at the gym must be.
Yeah, man.
So, well, man, I'm glad to have had this time with you. You know, I know you're moving back to Michigan. Hopefully, we'll see each other again down the road.
We will, man.
But it has been a blessing in my life to at least have this 2 years to train with you, brother.
Me too, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on this. If you're ever in Michigan, you have a place to stay. Anyone else in 360, same thing. So.
Well, cool. Good deal, man. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah. Hey guys, Justin Zielinski here with Zielinski Advantage. I'm sure you guys know this in this podcast. I was wearing the shirt. Just want to discuss a little bit of what it means to me. As many of you guys know, Jiu Jitsu is my life, and it's helped me tremendously, more than I can even talk about. So what this company is going to do is we're going to provide personal training and group training of Jiu Jitsu. Not only for self-defense and martial arts, but for a mental health aspect. It really helped me focus and find my path in life. And I want to take that, what I learned, and show other people, get them on the right path, and again, get in shape mentally, physically. And yeah, the back's right here. Zielinski Advantage. We'll be soon making a Facebook page. We already have shirt orders. We have about 20 shirts right now. If you guys want one, message me on Facebook or my cell phone. We'll put that in the podcast also. And appreciate everyone's support. And be on the lookout for me.